Cold Steel says the Triad is the strongest folding knife lock ever made. The patent claims something narrower than that, but arguably more interesting. And once you map the force paths, the reason these locks hold up so well isn't quite what the marketing suggests. So in this video, the 3 patent claims, what actually changes mechanically compared to a simple lockback, and where the real advantage is. Let's start with the patent itself. The document is US 7469476. It's on the screen. You can look it up in Google. And Demco calls the key part a safety reinforcement pin. Cold Steel calls it a stop pin in their marketing, and it's the same thing. And from here on, I'll just call it the safety pin. Here is what the patent summary of the invention actually says. I'll paraphrase it plainly. The invention is a reinforcement pin that transfers load away from the pivot of the lock bar and that reduces the chance of the lock bar's hook shearing off the blade, which the patent identifies as the most common failure mode of prior lockbacks under extreme load. That is the whole claimed invention in one sentence. The detailed description adds 2 more things. The load transfer works in both directions, so positive pressure on the cutting edge and negative pressure on the spine. The patent shows this with load arrows pointing both ways in figure 1. And in an alternate version, shown in figure 7, the lock bar has a stretched out pivot hole and 2 contact surfaces cut on the same curve. As parts wear, the lock bar slides along that curve and keeps the lock properly seated. The patent calls this wear compensation. That's it. No claim about being the strongest lock ever made, no weight ratings, no comparisons with other brands. One small part doing load transfer in both directions, with an optional wear compensation geometry in alternate form. So to understand why any of this matters, we need to look at how a normal lockback handles these same forces first.
So under closing force, pressure on the spine, the blade tang hook engages the lock face hook. The hook pulls through the lock bar on the rocker pin, which is stopped by the liners. So you have shearing force on the blade tang hook, shearing on the lock face hook, and shearing on the rocker pin, and bending force on the lock bar. Now under cutting force, so that is normal load on the edge, the blade tang shoulder presses against the lock face. That force transfers through the lock bar into the rocker pin, and again shearing force on that rocker pin. So in both directions, the rocker pin is a loaded component. That matters because shearing is the weakest loading mode for a pin like this. For ductile steel, shear yield is roughly 58% of tensile yield strength. So a pin that would hold a given load in pure compression fails at nearly half that load in shear. So what actually changes in the triad lock? Because of the clearance around the rocker pin, the lock bar can translate slightly rather than pivot. So under load, the lock face hook is pushed into the safety pin. That changes the force path completely. Under spine load, the blade tang hook presses the lock face hook against the safety pin. The lock face is now in compression, not shear. The shearing force on the lock face hook is gone. The shearing force that was on the rocker pin is now on the safety pin instead. The bending force on the lock bar is 0 because the lock bar is no longer pivoting around the rocker pin. It's translating against a fixed stop. What remains is shearing force on the blade tang hook itself. And this is where the second piece of geometry matters. The blade tang hook has rounded corners rather than sharp ones. That rounding reduces stress concentration. Sharp corners create pressure peaks that initiate failure. Rounded corners distribute the load. So the one remaining shearing point is deliberately geometry optimized. Under cutting force, same story. The load path goes through the safety pin, not the rocker pin. But there's a bigger advantage here. The safety pin completely eliminates the overextension failure mode. In a lockback, there's a theoretical geometry problem where enough cutting edge force can cam the lock out of engagement. The safety pin makes this impossible. There's no longer a geometric path for the blade to rotate past the lock. This is a clear design improvement. Then there is a self-adjusting claim. So the extra clearance in the rocker pinhole lets the lock bar migrate forward as parts wear. So the lock always seats deeper into the tang notch over time. So this is a genuine design improvement. It's worth noting, however, that some lockback designs have incorporated similar wear compensation geometry. It is, however, not guaranteed in every lockback, where it is definitely built in to every triad lock. So what do we actually get? Well, the bending force on the lock bar is removed. That's a real design plus. Then the removed shearing force on the lock face hook, that's a clear removed point of failure. That's real. But it's only meaningful if that was the weakest link. There is still shearing force on the blade tang hook and on the safety pin. If those are weaker than the lock bar, nothing much changes. It does not guarantee a stronger lock than a well-built lockback. The patent is built around one main idea. Take load of the rocker pin so the lock face hook is less likely to shear under extreme force. That is clearly a real mechanical benefit. The question is how often that specific failure mode actually happens in practice. Public examples of lock trouble more often point to wear at the lock interface or to tang and lock face geometry than to the hook itself snapping in shear. So the gain here is real, but it's probably better described as a cleaner load path and a removed point of failure, not really as proof that the triad lock fixes the one problem most lockbacks usually have. Then the rounded tang hook geometry improves resistance against the one of the two remaining shearing points. Real improvement. This is not part of the patent though, but Cold Steel applies it in its designs. These two improvements allow for the strengthening of only one component to increase the overall strength of the whole lock, the well-named safety pin. Then the overextension elimination on the cutting side is a clean design win. It closes off a theoretical failure mode that the lockback leaves open. Then there is one more benefit worth stating that the patent doesn't emphasize. It doesn't even mention it. If the safety pin deforms or fails, the load redistributes back onto the rocker pin, which up to that point was carrying nothing. So the triad has a full lockback mechanism in reserve behind its primary load pad. That is genuine redundancy. And it's there in both force directions. It is a true safety improvement, but it's only there after the lock has already failed. So in conclusion, looking at the design itself, to me there is very little that guarantees a stronger lock than a well-made lockback. The force is redistributed, a theoretical failure mode is closed off, and wear compensation is built in. But none of that inherently produces the strength numbers Cold Steel demonstrates. If triads consistently outperform lockbacks in destructive testing, that performance is more likely coming from geometry, tolerances, and execution than from lock principles itself. So, if you liked this video, please like and subscribe. There are also other videos and other logs that I've described that you can look at. There is the compression log, and there is a long video on the lockback itself. See you later, guys.